In this video, I'm going to be talking about everything intensity. I believe one of the most important factors in order to achieve your gains at the gym would be consistency. Because with consistency, you can learn how to train with intensity. You can learn correct form. You can learn time management. You can learn periodization. However, I think one of the most important / intangible factors to learn is being able to leverage intensity. How hard can you push? How much can you drive? How much can you push when you're sore? How much weight can you lift? How can you leverage working harder in order to optimize your gains? In this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 ways that you can leverage intensity in order to make more gains. Number 1, increase weight. Okay, this one's very easy. Most people don't think about this, but you can easily just leverage intensity by increasing the weight that you're doing. So a lot of you, especially beginners, go to the gym, you're doing exactly the same weight each week and you're expecting to get different results, you're expecting to get bigger and stronger. It doesn't work like that. In order to grow, I'm sure a lot of you should know this by now, you need to progressively overload. So adding a little bit more weight than you did the previous week, whether that's 1.25 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg. I remember when I was younger and I first started lifting, I was adding 10 kg to my deadlift like every week. It was mad. Now if I add 10 kg to my lift, I'll be getting a PB. Back then it was just what happened every week. So you need to make sure that you're adding more weight, you're lifting more weight, and you're also challenging yourself. A lot of you are not challenging yourself enough. Make sure that you're actually pushing hard enough where after your set you're not relaxed. You should be out of breath, train with intensity, increase the weight that you're doing. Number 2, add more reps or sets. Increase reps and sets. Again, this one is very easy. Just do more reps. So obviously the hypertrophy range is anywhere between 10 to about 30 reps, depending on how you're training. But a lot of you are still stuck doing the 8 to 12 reps for muscle gain. Let me do this, play around with it, do more reps. Get the lactic acid into your muscle, get that stimulus where you're actually shocking your muscle. Like Annie said, shock the muscle, okay? That's a really bad impression, but shock the muscle, do something different so that you can actually stimulate growth. Add more sets. If you've been stuck doing 3 sets forever, do 4 sets, do 5 sets, do a little bit more. Increase your work capacity, because that's how you're going to create change over time and eventually increase the number of work capacity you're able to do to grow. Number 3, change the tempo. Again, some of you are just going to the gym, lifting like this, same tempo. You need to walk different tempos, especially in the eccentric portion of the lift. So when you're lowering the weight down, for example, in the bicep curls, lowering down, eccentric just means the muscle is lengthening under contraction. So with the bicep, for example, this is the concentric, it's shortening. This is the eccentric, the muscle is lengthening. So with that eccentric phase, we need to be walking really slowly because that's where we're gonna get all our gains. Same thing applies for bench press. If we're pressing, coming down slowly, okay? So change the tempo, do different tempo schemes. You can't just be doing exactly the same tempo all the time. Walk around with pause reps, okay? Slow negatives, slow concentric as well when you're going up. So play around with the tempo, okay? Don't just do it exactly the same way, especially a lot of you are using momentum. So we don't want to be using any momentum. The way we build muscle is by making a certain weight as difficult as possible. Different from strength training or powerlifting, because all you're trying to do is move the weight from point A to point B. With bodybuilding, we're trying to make it as hard as possible. You see Kai Green doing like 5 kg dumbbells and just doing it very, very slowly, and he's got one of the biggest arms in the world. So play around with the tempo. Next one, incorporate supersets and various training principles, okay? All right, so a very easy way of making your workouts boring is just doing 10 to 12 reps, 3 sets per exercise, 5 exercises, go home. You need to make it more exciting. Do supersets, do drop sets, do partials, All of these different things sets to failure. All of these different things allows you to be able to put a little bit more work on the muscle. For example, with supersets, you're also saving time, you're increasing your heart rate, you're doing more work, you're killing two birds with one stone. Play around with all of these different training variables. Make sure that you're increasing the intensity by using these different factors. And the last and final one, okay, so this one's actually going to be different. These are intangibles, okay? So, what do I mean by the intangibles? These are the things that you can't teach in a textbook, okay? This is being able to use different factors to be able to get yourself hyped up, get yourself in that mental frame of mind where you're able to lift heavy, do a lot of reps without getting tired or feeling demotivated. What do I mean by this? One way of training intangibles is by using music, okay? For me, that's either hip hop or heavy metal. One of the songs I normally play and that's got me a lot of PBs is Down With The Sickness by Disturbed. That song, it lives in my memory because when I was about, I think, how old was I, 18, I deadlifted 250 and that was a song that I had to get me hyped up. And ever since then, it's almost been imprinted in my memory as the tune that I go to when I'm lifting heavy. So every time I get a PB, I always stick that on. But have a playlist that you play, whether that's hip hop, whether that's house music, whether that's whatever that might be. Have music that you can play or a particular song to get in that zone where everything else doesn't matter, you're just about to lift. It's all about lifting heavy and being in that zone. So music, that's number one intangible. Number two, using self-talk, okay? So when you're feeling a bit down, you're feeling demotivated, just speak to yourself. Say, come on, I can do this. I'm a boss, I'm a bad man, let's get it. Nothing's gonna stop me. I'm not stopping now, let's go, let's go. That positive self-talk, you can even say it out loud or you can say it in your head. Whatever it may be, you need to get yourself out of like, oh, I've had a long day, let me just get through this, let me just do this. Self-talk is very important. Make sure that you're leveraging it in your training. It's a very easy way of making sure that you're keeping on top of your training and you're training at the right intensity. The next one, pre-workout, okay? For some of you caffeine addicts out there, like I feel like I'm having pre-workout all the time now. But it's an easy way of getting a bit of caffeine into your system, getting your alertness a little bit more heightened, and so that you're able to perform a lot easier. So get your pre-workout, have a scoop, have 2 scoops if you want, whatever you need to do. Obviously, don't do it all the time. Make sure that your body's kind of recovering and you're not screwing up your sleep. But pre-workout is an easy way that you can use to get yourself in that heightened state of mind to be able to lift a lot of weight with good intensity. Okay, then getting in the zone, no distractions. Okay, that's the final one. So this basically just means being able to prep yourself for the workout that you're going to do. Before you even get to the gym, you should already be kind of meditating what I'm gonna do, how am I gonna execute this lift, especially if you're prepping for a competition. You should already have done a lot of the reps in your head before you even get to the gym. A big part of this as well is getting rid of distractions. If you're the kind of person to scroll on your phone, get rid of your phone, okay? Even I sometimes fall in the trap of getting my tripod out and recording all the time. This takes away from the intensity because all I'm doing is recording, moving the camera, getting the right angle, then what will happen is I'll be getting too much rest, which is another factor. Actually, I'm gonna add that here, okay? Less rest, okay? And all of these factors here, okay? So, having my camera out takes away from the actual training, which takes away from the intensity. All right, so no distractions, make sure you're getting in the zone, okay? Whatever you need to tell yourself, whatever routine you need to do to get in that mind frame, get used to doing that on a regular basis, because the more you can replicate that, you're going to be ahead of a lot of people who are not using it, okay? And I can guarantee if you're doing all of these things, if you're doing all of these things here, okay? You're doing all of these intangibles, you've got the music, you've got the self-talk, you've got the pre-workout, you know how to get in the zone, you're increasing the weight every session, you're increasing the number of reps and sets and playing around with different intervals. you're not getting as much rest. You're changing the tempo. You're incorporating supersets, drop sets, partial sets within your training. If you're doing all of this, there is no way, if your diet is intact, you're not gonna make a lot of gains. So I asked ChatGPT to define intensity in relation to lifting, and this was the definition it gave. Level of effort or amount of resistance being lifted relative to the maximum weight that an individual can lift for a given exercise. It can be measured of how hard the muscle are working for a given exercise. Okay, so this is the textbook definition, and a way of actually measuring this that you can start using as of today when you next go to the gym is thinking about the percentage of your 1 rep max. Okay, so think about the percentage of your 1 rep max. Most of you don't even know what your 1 rep max is. How are you gonna know how much you can lift or how hard you're training if you've never tested yourself to the limit? So have a day after you're rested, you're optimally primed for it. Go for a 1 rep max PB for bench press, okay? Or at least even suboptimal, like maybe like a 95% or 90%. Test yourself, okay? Know what that is, because then you know what numbers you should be doing, okay? So find the percentage of your 1 rep max, okay? And another way of kind of knowing how intense you're training as well is using RPE scale. So RPE just means rate of perceived exertion, and it's a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being basically a walk in the park and 10 being I can't do any more reps. Some people use it in terms of how many more reps can I get. So if you got an 8 RPE, if you said my rate of perceived exertion is an 8, that means you've got 2 more reps left in the tank. So this here is how you can leverage intensity in your training. I hope that was useful. If you got something out of this video, please leave a like down below. Comment down below how many of these you're doing already, and if you learned something new today. Also, this is a new, different style of video, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start uploading similar videos like this more frequently. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'll meet you guys in the next one.